I don't say the argument with my team and but I came from sales. I worked at Cutco for 10 years. And in that type of sale, you want to close the client right there on the appointment. With our properties, what's nice about Airbnb is you can only inquire on 3 to 5 properties within 24 hours. So I tell our team, like, if someone inquires, we have a 33% chance they're going to book with us or 2 other hosts that they're inquiring about. So I always preach, like, follow up with the client, close the client as soon as possible.
Welcome back to Property Pulse, the podcast where we go behind the scenes of property management, leasing, and hospitality to understand what's actually happening day to day. Not the glossy Instagram version, but the real version. I'm Drew, and I run AI Business Systems. We work with property managers and leasing teams to rethink how the front door of their business works, from calls, text, scheduling, support, all of it. But this show isn't about pitching software. It's about conversations. Today, I'm excited because we're talking to someone who lives right at the intersection of hospitality, operations, and growth. Sebastian Mysliwiec, sorry if I mispronounced that, is the founder of Dream Chicago Rentals. He's built a luxury short and midterm rental portfolio, and he manages over 40 properties and generating north of $3.5 million annual revenue with in-house maintenance, cleaning, pricing, and guest support. Sebastian, welcome to Property Pulse.
Thanks for having me, Drew. We're at 80 now.
80.
We just did 5.8 million this last year.
Congratulations. Wow. I'm sorry my data was behind. Wow, that's amazing.
No,
Congrats.
you're good.
Great year.
Yeah, it's been a massive growth this year. We grew, obviously we doubled in units, and it's been a
Amazing.
lot.
What did you attribute that huge growth to?
I think a couple of things. Our brand, definitely a lot of leads coming our way, but then also, I don't know if you've read the 12-week year, but just more accountability across the whole team. So we've broken up the year within those 4 quarters and just held that tight accountability. And our team's been producing and making things happen a lot more rapidly than in the past.
Awesome. Yeah, when people hear founder of rental company, they probably imagine like freedom. What does your actual role look like day to day?
Yeah, so it's me and my business partner, Josh Arnold. He's more of the CFO side. I'm more on the COO side, and then we split the CEO position. But every day is a little bit different. Some weeks are more geared on the sales aspects. Some weeks are more geared on the operational side. But typically, we'll have like a kickoff call for the day. Everyone has their like different tasks that they'll work on. And then I'll check in with the different departments. Sometimes I'll help out with maintenance. Sometimes I'll help out with some unit development, wherever the team needs. It's been a rapid growth. So some of the systems break pretty consistently. So we're in like fix it mode, and some of our team members work part-time. So it's been challenging working around their schedules, but anywhere from coaching people to leading departments to having calls with our leadership staff, our maintenance side, or our cleaning side, just basically making sure the whole ecosystem works well together. And it's not passive, it's very, very active. As you mentioned, it's more of a hospitality business than real estate. And so you can't just like set it and forget it,
Right.
especially now in 2026. It's very competitive. We have to be priced competitively. We have to constantly upgrade our units. We have to constantly look for better properties to swap out the properties that we currently do have,
Yeah.
just to make sure that we're succeeding in the marketplace.
Nice. You have these daily kickoff meetings, you said. How many people basically participate in those meetings?
Yeah. Anywhere from 3 to 5, just depends on who's working that day. Our VAs are pretty much working 24/7 in terms of like the shift schedule. So like it depends on when they're working, and we'll kick off the night shift, etc.
Are your VAs domestic or are they overseas?
Most of our customer service VAs are in the Philippines, and then our 2 US support members are like escalated to if the VAs can't solve those problems. And then all of our team here in Chicago, our cleaners, maintenance, obviously has to be boots on the ground, so they're here.
Yeah. How would you say that your role has changed between property number 5 to property number 80 now, 80 plus? What's the biggest change in your role?
Biggest change was for me and Josh doing everything from guest messaging to maintenance to setting up the properties to basically the whole business was my business partner and I. Now we have a team of 30 cleaners, 3 handymen, 4 handymen, 6 virtual assistants, revenue manager, 2 of the US support members. So it's changed from like the doer to
Yeah.
more of like the operator to
Delegate
hopefully
sounds right.
to hopefully transition soon to like more of a business owner, because right now we are very involved in the business and making sure that the growth is keeping up with the team.
Yeah. And that's amazing growth. What are the moments where the business needs you versus moments it shouldn't need you, would you say?
I get pulled in a lot through different aspects, whether it's guest escalation concerns or complaints, to security at times, to some customer service aspects, not as much as in the last couple of years, which has been great. But we're definitely right now, our phase and what we're working on is just making sure the leaders are leading their teams properly and giving them the freedom to do so. Promoted a lot of people in-house, which was cool and still kind of works, but now we're in a position where people really need to step up and lead, or else we need to start transitioning more full-time people that can take care of that. So we've
Yeah.
given people opportunity, but right now we're not going to continue building with the current team. We have to expand roles, expand that leadership, and transition some people out if they can't keep up with what we're building.
Yeah. As much as you'd love to promote from within, sometimes you're at a point where you have to pull from the outside, right?
Yep, exactly.
What's a thing that you would say surprises people most about running short-term rentals at scale?
I think what surprises people the most running a short-term rental business at scale is what I've heard is a lot of people think that it gets easier, and it can, but different properties have different issues, different locations have different types of clientele that it attracts, and with those clientele, there's definitely more security measures that we need to take. So it is a plug and play, but every single play has different sets of rules and guidelines and systems that we need to zone in on for those properties. For example, if we're in a high rise with 50 to 100 units and there's a front desk, like there's a whole system check-in process for the front desk to be able to accept that guest or have that guest actually walk in versus, one unit building. It's pretty hands off, but there's neighbors, right? So it can get complicated.
Yeah.
It's not just plug and play, it's plug and
Yeah.
play and pivot depending on the properties that you have.
Sounds like unique circumstances for every property, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
What's the part of the job you didn't expect to still be dealing with at this point, if any at all?
Yeah. The biggest thing I didn't expect to still deal with was customers, but it is the most important part of the business is having a great customer service experience. So if things aren't handled properly, or if someone doesn't have a great experience, I want to make sure that every guest is taken care of. I don't want to just refund $100, $200. I want to make sure that guest feels taken care of if there's any issues, whether it's booking reservations, whether it's refunding more money just to make sure everybody's happy. Like, the customer comes first. And our VAs are awesome because they are aware of the money coming in and out, so they don't want to like refund a ton, but if it needs to happen, we're more than happy to take care of the client no matter what it takes. Like that, we want people to come back to the company and come back and book with us in the future. And sometimes you get pulled into that. And I'm hoping by the end of this month, one of our had US support members is transitioning out of her job to do this full time. So I'm hoping that I won't be a part of that right now, but it's been challenging with having the two part timers that take care of like the VA management.
Yeah. Walk me through what happens when a guest has an issue at like 9:30 at night.
Yeah, first, we have a company phone line that they will either call or text. Obviously, texting can get a little bit messy nowadays with emotions and experiences. So we always train our VAs like the first thing you need to do is call the person, hear them out, find out exactly what their concerns are, and handle those concerns. If they're not able to, then they'll speak to Patty or Maya, which is my business partner's fiance, my girlfriend, the US support team, and they'll pretty much handle it from there. But if they still want to talk to someone else on the team, I'll be the next person. It doesn't really reach me as much, but that's pretty much the process there.
And then how do you decide what's urgent versus what feels urgent?
How do I decide or how does the team decide?
Yeah, how does the team decide?
I think you could read someone's tone. Yeah, you could definitely read someone's tone on a text message or a message, right? So, and then depending, right? So if there's like a heater issue at a property that might have been handled when the cleaners were there, and then something happened between their check-in time and when they're actually checked in, and there's no heat, like that takes priority over someone that might have lack of like toilet paper, right? So like whatever's more important in terms of safety first. And then we could handle, inventory or whatever the case may be. Safety
Got
first, comfort next, and then low hanging fruit, just small complaints from any guest that happens.
got it. How much would you say, how much of your team's time is spent answering the same question?
Let's say 10 or 15%, not a ton.
Okay.
We use Gusty as our PMS, and Gusty has rolled out some kind of AI, like quick responses that they can use. They
Okay.
are pretty canned, so we are definitely, tailoring
Limited.
those based on the client, making it more human-like.
Mhm.
But it does happen, right? So we have saved replies. We have some canned responses that we'll use if it's the same question. But what we try to do is answer all those questions on the front end, whether it's I'm not sure if you've heard of Enzo.
No.
Enzo Connect is an app. It's like a boarding pass type of app where we can put in all the information of a property, whether it's from check-ins, how to use amenities, to how to book tour in the city, whatever the case may be. So like a lot of those will be answered on the front end. But
Okay.
when the guest is at a property, sometimes we do have to answer um, those repeated questions for sure.
Got it. Cool. Where would you say that things fall through the cracks, even with good people in place?
Where do things fall through the cracks with good people in place? I would say there's a lot of guests with 80 properties. I mean, we could have, you know, 800 people that experience us on a daily basis. So between guest communication and any maintenance, there's a lot that goes into the ecosystem. And if the whole ecosystem isn't tight, then things can slip, whether it's like a maintenance issue or cleaning issue or following up with a client that wants to book with us, but doesn't answer the question that we asked them. Like those things can sometimes slip through the cracks if we are at our bandwidth with like guest messaging and calls, because their first priority is to take care of the client. Your second priority is to obviously loop people in on where we can improve. So the whole ecosystem at our scale definitely has to be tight.
Yeah.
And if it's not, or if they're overworked with messaging a guest, then it could definitely slip through the cracks here and there.
If anything does slip through the cracks, is it easy to identify and say, hey, okay,
Yes,
we've got a little gap. Let's fill it.
totally. Like with Guesty, what's nice is we have a bunch of different analytics, whether it's our pace report, guest communication, our win loss ratio. So we could definitely pinpoint things based on real time data that we get from the
Right.
PMS, which is really nice.
If the perfect assistant existed, what would you never want your team interrupted for again?
I mean, like you mentioned, the repeated questions that, or following up with the client, that part. Like if there's so many messages coming in and you don't have time to follow up with the client, and I think this is across any business, right? If you send some email campaigns out and texts or phone calls, most of the time where people lose is the follow up, right? If there's not a system for the follow up game, and clients will book other properties or work with different property managers, that part would be great to have taken care of automatically.
Yeah, yeah. What info would you say that guests usually need before they even talk to a human?
What info does the guest need before they even talk to a human? Every single part of the front end experience,
Mhm.
from booking to showing up to the property to using any amenities that we have, would be my answer. And then my second answer would be recommendations for restaurants, clubs, bars in the area that we recommend.
Does your PMS or Guesty or any of your systems right now provide that kind of information to your guests?
Yeah, we have some SOPs in like our favorite restaurants in these different areas. Balancing it. It's like something they have to like look up, go into our Google Drive, look at like the property location and what we recommend in that area. So it is not a ton of time consuming aspects, but we do have the SOPs that we can definitely pull into guest here. If there's an AI system that can just shoot out those answers, that'd be great.
Okay, cool. All right, let's shift from current guests to future guests, the people who haven't booked at all yet. How do inquiries come in today? Do they come in by calls, text, apps, emails?
Most of our bookings are through the big OTAs, booking.com, Airbnb, Verbo. So that'll funnel in. And then we have our social media and our website. We'll have influencers stay, post our properties, and then those inquiries will come into Guesty through an email. We do also have our website or our phone number on there as well. So if someone does want to reach out directly through a phone call or through a DM on Instagram, that happens, and we'll just do some outbound calls that way and book the guest directly. But I would say mostly through the OTAs, and then the second most would be a direct booking on our website, and the third most would be a phone call or a text message to our line.
What would you say the percentage is? Like 80-20, maybe?
80/20 sounds
Yeah.
in terms of calls versus emails, or
Yeah. Calls versus
yeah,
emails.
I'd say 80/20 emails and then calls.
Got it. What happens if someone reaches out while your team is busy or offline?
There's always someone online, which is good, but if they're taking another call or if they're busy with another client, we use open phones, so they'll get an automatic text saying, "Hey, we're gonna get back to you once we finish up this call." But then it'll forward that call to our second open phone line, our third, and vice versa. If we have two staff members working, then the second person could answer that phone, or that first person, if it's only one person working, could just call the person back. But call, you get a text message, and then a call is forwarded to our other lines.
Is speed ever the difference between a booking and a missed opportunity?
And that's the I don't say the argument with my team and I, but I came from sales. I worked at Cutco for 10 years. And in that type of sale, you want to close a client right there on the appointment, right? With our properties, what's nice about Airbnb is you can only inquire on 3 to 5 properties within 24 hours. So I tell our team, like, if someone inquires, we have a 33% chance that they're going to book with us or two other hosts that they're inquiring about. So I always preach like follow up with the client, close the client as soon as possible. But on the flip side, if someone's booking a property for, 10 days for like $20,000, those bigger sales can take a little bit more time because a lot of times those people are still shopping around a little bit and they're planning out 3 to 6 months in advance. So some of those might take a little bit longer, but I do believe the follow up and the quicker we can close, the better. I think the feedback's on my end. Every time I mute, it stops.
That's okay. I mean, we'll literally clear it all out. We won't even hear a thing. But I'm curious what you just said. Are you saying that someone booking through these OTAs can only inquire 3 times?
On Airbnb, yes.
Really? There
Yeah.
are only 3 inquiries that go through.
Because a lot of people, I don't know what's going on, if there's like a Reddit post or YouTube videos, but there's a lot of like last minute bookings coming in now, like same day or next day. But
Okay.
also, I know in the past, a lot of different guests would just blast out messages to all these different hosts asking for a discounted stay or anything they could add on as like a package deal for their Airbnb stay. So Airbnb is limited, so people aren't just spamming a bunch of posts. They want people to realize that if they are booking a property, let's limit it to the spam messages. I've also seen in the past a lot of like different cleaning companies or maintenance workers go on Airbnb and will message a bunch of hosts saying, "Here's our service. Here's what we can provide for you if you're interested. Reach out to us." So I believe they've also limited that so that way those spam
Makes
messages.
sense. Makes complete sense, yeah. Most prospects ask similar things, or does it vary a lot?
It depends on the property and
Okay.
depends how dialed in our listings are. We try to answer every single like question, whether, how far is the beach? How far is the United Center? How far is the Soldier Field, right? We try to put that all in the listing so that way those questions are answered. But some of our old listings that we haven't tightened up as much, we'll get some similar questions. How far is the beach? How far is this? What's your nearest bar? Blah, blah, blah. It's definitely less than it was in the past, but we definitely still get that from some clients that some clients book a property and they don't read anything that you put in the
Amazing.
list, so we're answering
Amazing.
those.
Really. No kidding. Just it's based on location and time.
Yep,
Interesting.
yep.
Have you ever looked back and realized maybe someone meant to book but never did? Does that ever come up?
Yeah, we literally yesterday, I was going through some messages, checking in with the team, and there was a client that booked, paid part of their deposit,
Okay.
stopped responding, so we canceled them. And then yesterday, they're like, "Hey, please don't cancel. Like, I have the rest of the funds for the property." And he was supposed to check in yesterday, but then someone else also booked for the same dates once we canceled. So it does happen here and there. A lot of times those guests aren't the best type of guests that we want anyways. So I don't really have that much of an issue with that happening just because if someone can't afford a security deposit, then they're more likely to damage things in the property, et cetera.
Sure. There's other issues involved. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
it. But if response time dropped to near instant, would that change for conversion?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in a society that people expect responses pretty quick. That's like my core belief with the team too. And that's me and one of the staff members. She's like, well, when I book a property, like I don't expect a response right away. I'm cool with that person waiting. But I think most of society wants that instance, especially if they're on the platform and they're browsing. The quicker you can respond, the quicker you get back to them. I believe full heartedly that's going to lead to higher sales quicker.
Yeah. Yes. I only have one property versus your 80 for Airbnb. And anytime that there's a message that comes in, I'm on it right away. Yeah. It's all about the conversion. And luxury isn't just about the unit. It's about how smooth everything feels, right? The whole experience. Like you said, your ecosystem. How much coordination goes into tours, access, check-ins, and special requests?
You mean tours as in someone wanting to see the property before they book?
Yeah. Do you ever get any of that?
Very rare.
Yeah.
It's interesting you asked that. We just got one yesterday
Hmm.
from a client that wants to book a property with her whole family because her mother's getting heart transplant or some kind of big surgery. And then her grandma's like in a wheelchair and she wants to make sure the property is accessible and she could get in and out easily and have a good place to rest. And more for like the longer stays, right? So if we have anyone that wants to check in for like 2 months or a couple months, those people will want to see it or do a little bit of a tour, but it's not that often. And what we do try to have all of our properties showcased on our social media website. So that way we can send someone a quick link of a walkthrough so they have an idea at least, especially, if we have a same day back to back check in, like that tight window of cleaners got to go in there and us showing the property. It's just hard to coordinate. So we don't get it as much, but we do have the videos as backup. And then you asked about the check in process. That's pretty much all automated through Enzo now. Once we have everything that's dialed in on the front end from the guest showing up to Chicago to checking in, we want to make sure that's as smooth as possible so we don't have too many issues there anymore once we switch those systems.
You mentioned something about videos. You have videos of your properties? Are they like virtual tours or something like that?
Some of them we do have virtual tours. Some of them it's just like a quick walkthrough or like a reel that we've posted online of like the highlights of the property.
Cool.
But we also include floor plans on all of our listings too, so the clients can visualize the property and get to.
Yeah, that's nice. Floor plans. Okay. What's the most common scheduling bottleneck your team deals with?
Most common scheduling bottleneck I would say is the two things. So the part timers on the US side, I'm pulled into a lot of this Slack and messaging sometimes because of our part-timers. They're only working after their regular jobs. And then the second thing would be maintenance, coordinating maintenance and when the properties are open. Right now we're on like version 2.0. We have like a Google Doc that's running and all the properties that are open that day and everything that needs to get done. But I'd love to get that automated in some capacity.
Do guests ever show up confused even though instructions were sent about anything?
Definitely in the past, that's been like one of our main customer service focuses is like I want anything that's predictable to be automated so we can humanize the experience for our clients. So we literally did an exercise at our last quarterly meeting of like, what's everything that's predictable in our business and everyone's roles. Let's create SOPs and documents and create make sure that that gets done first. So that way we can really focus on providing the best customer service.
When things go well, would you say that it's because of the process or because the right person happened to pick up the phone or handle things themselves? Sounds like you
I
have a
think it's
great process.
I think it's a combination of both. And on the flip side, you do have some clients, especially when prices are low. You'll have some clients that just go into a property and try to find something wrong to get some kind of refund. It's very, very strange that we're dealing with this right now, and it's more than ever.
Really?
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if there's like a Reddit thing going on or YouTube, but it's like these people will come in and just like look for anything. We had a client 2 weeks ago at one of our properties in Wisconsin. They said there was panties found behind the bathroom door. Luckily, we have pictures of every single check in and check out, so we know exactly how the cleaners left it, have them do a video walkthrough, etc. So like that guest literally placed the panties behind the front bathroom door just to get some kind of refund. So then you have to handle that over the phone, and you can't tell the guest, it's wrong. You want to take some kind of accountability and meet them halfway, but it's challenging, right? If you tell the guest, oh, that wasn't theirs, and they're like, no, it was someone else, it wasn't us, then they leave you a bad review, etc. So
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
tough, but I think the first thing that matters is the process has to be right. But then on the flip side, whoever answers the phone really make sure that the customer feels heard and understood,
Sure.
and hear them out and find out what the client wants from that ask.
Yeah. So your process with the cleaners, do you require them to take a video of and do a walkthrough after every
Yeah.
cleaning?
We have them go through training first, so a couple days of training. Then they'll have the cleaning managers go to their next clean by themselves and check the property with them, do a quick walkthrough, point the things out that we need to improve on. And then their first couple cleans are required to send a slow video walkthrough. Once that video walkthrough is done and we give them the thumbs up on that, then they move into an app called Breezeway, where they will just upload pictures of the property, and our cleaning managers will be monitor those pictures to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks. And then once a month or every couple weeks, we'll have like an auditor come to every single property and just double check in person, because obviously in a picture you can't see a piece of hair, you can't see the details in that picture. So we do require those audits to happen too.
What parts of the guest journey would you say could be more self-serve without losing that luxury feel?
What parts can be more self-served without losing that luxury feel? Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Is there anything, and maybe not, is there anything that maybe you can maybe automate for the guest and taking hands off, more of a hands-off approach to their journey, but still remain comfortable and luxurious? And maybe that's a bad question. Maybe there is nothing. I'm just curious to see if with all your process you have in place, is there anything that can take things off the plate of you and your team, put it on the guest's plate without losing that customer experience?
Mm,
And if there's nothing, probably just gonna scratch that, I'm just
no, it's a good question. I'm really thinking about that one.
and basically it comes from curiosity because what we do is automation, right? We provide automation for a lot of businesses. So it's good to hear that if someone says, wow, if we can have this maybe automated to take things off our plate more, that would help us. And that just helps us understand our clients better.
Yeah, it's a good question. What's coming up for me is, I think, a similar response that I had a couple questions ago of the personalized recommendations for any restaurants nearby or any things that we love to do in the area.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say the challenge of having VAs is, but they don't know Chicago, right? They only know it from what we give them. So automating that would be the first. And then I don't know if this would be even possible, but we've even thought of like if there's like a full desk concierge service that we can also integrate with our company, whether it's someone wants a restaurant recommendation, great. Can we email or call them and book that for them, or at least find the times open for the clients? Or if there's a way to automate reach outs to local Chicago vendors or Wisconsin vendors to sponsor, chips or local coffee or whatever, we can automate some kind of like outreach for that. Get the stock, get our stockings of that fully automated. That would be amazing. Probably should have Close my window. Welcome, welcome to Chicago.
Lot of-
Yeah. So that'd be the first or the first two. Pinging our maintenance if there's like a guest. Sometimes guests complain about a light bulb being out, and like they want that to be like to happen urgently. And instead of like our staff having to reach out to our maintenance, if they could be like pinged right away, they drop what they're doing to do that. If the guest really wants that done, if that can be automated, that'd be great. And then just like I said in the past, the follow ups, the things to lock in that clients as a guest. In terms of the luxury experience, I would say, yeah, concierge service, the management of maintenance would be that.
Yeah, perfect. As you scale beyond these 80 properties, what has to change operationally in your eyes?
Yeah, we definitely need. Right now, we're working on getting a full-time executive assistant and then a full-time, basically like copywriter slash guest experience manager. So they would do everything from the front end of listing a property to when the guest checks out. So we're working on transitioning our part-timer to full-time and then having an executive assistant that can oversee the virtual assistants and be there for them for that. That's our main focus right now before we scale on anything else. We're looking to get that done. Once that's done, then we're looking to scale a little bit more with probably another handyman or maintenance person, and then any cleaners that we need to bring on or swap out with people that aren't performing well. We'll probably do that next before we start growing some more.
Cool. Well, Sebastian, this has been fantastic. I mean, a great conversation. What I love about conversations like this is that it reminds people that behind every portfolio is 1,000 small decisions that you got to make, right? Interruptions and systems trying to keep up with growth. For anyone listening, whether you're managing 5 units or 50, the takeaway isn't buy more tech. It's really about understanding where your time and attention are leaking. Sebastian, if people want to follow your journey, learn about Dream Chicago Rentals, or connect with you, where should they go?
Great question. LinkedIn would probably be the easiest in terms of business wise. So Sebastian Mysliwiec would be my LinkedIn. The Dream Rentals, we also have a LinkedIn for our business site, and then our Instagram, TikTok, our website, thedreamrentals.com. Since we've expanded outside of Chicago, we've decided to change the name a little bit, the brand a little bit,
Nice.
or Facebook too is great.
Okay. And we'll include all those links in our description. Okay.
Yep.
And to our
Awesome.
listeners, if today's episode sparked ideas or questions about how your frontline operations work, that's the whole point of this. Keep the pulse on your property. Thanks for tuning in to Property Pulse, and we will see you all next time. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks, Drew.